Dark Magician. Card type monster. Attribute dark. Types spellcaster normal. Level 7, attack 2500, defense 2100. The ultimate wizard in terms of attack and defense. Card trivia Dark Magician. This is the cover card of Starter Deck Yugi and Structure Deck Illusion of the Dark Magicians, and the TCG version of Structure Deck Yu-Gi-Moto, and is also one of the cover cards of EXR, Starter Box, the Promotional Pack, Retro Pack, Starter Deck Yugi Reloaded, Beginner's Edition 1, 2011, Premium Pack 4, the OCG version of Structure Deck Yu-Gi-Moto, Duelist Saga, Dual Power, Speed Duel Streets of Battle City, 25th Anniversary Tin Dueling Heroes, and High Grade Collection. This monster appears in the artworks of Bond Between Teacher and Student, Card of Fate, Dark Burning Magic, Dark Magical Circle, alternate artwork, Dark Magic Attack, Dark Magic Expanded, Dark Magic Inheritance, Dark Magic Twin Burst, Dark Resonance Burst, Dark Spiral Force, Destined Rivals, Dimension Explosion, Draw of Fate, Eternal Soul as an engraving, Illusion Magic, Legacy of the Duelist, Magician's Combination, Magician Navigation, Magician's Salvation, Magician's Selection, Magician's Sense, Soul Servant, Speed Spell, Speed Fusion, Spell Card Monster Reborn, and the Dark Magicians in slightly different robes. This monster's spectral form appears in the artwork of Magician's Robe, Magician's Rod, and Magician's Souls. Magician's Robe served as the monster version of this monster's robe, while Magician's Rod serves as the monster version of this monster's staff. This monster's staff appears in the artworks of Black Illusion. This card appears in the artwork of Exchange in 2 of its artworks, and E-Hero Pit Boss. Dark Magical Circle appears in several of this card's artworks. This card has several counterparts. A retrained counterpart, Magician of Dark Illusion. An alternate counterpart, Dark Magician by Arcana. 2 advanced counterparts, Dark Eradicator Warlock and Sorcerer of Dark Magic. A female counterpart, Dark Magician Girl. A ritual counterpart, Magician of Chaos. 2 upgraded ritual counterparts, Magician of Black Chaos and Magician of Black Chaos Max. A Gagaga counterpart, Gagaga Magician. A Chaos counterpart, Dark Magician of Chaos. A Karibo counterpart, Magic Karibo. A Statue counterpart, Statue Dark Magician. A Toon counterpart, Toon Dark Magician. A Warrior counterpart, Dark Magician Knight. An Aged counterpart, Dark Sage. 9 fusion counterparts, Dark Flare Knight, Dark Paladin, Amulet Dragon, Dark Magician the Dragon Knight, Dark Cavalry, Dark Magician the Knight of Dragon Magic, the Dark Magicians, Master of Chaos, Red Eyes Dark Dragoon. 2 Xyz counterparts, Ebon High Magician and Ebon Illusion Magician. A match winner, Xyz counterpart, Legendary Magician of Dark. A match winner effect counterpart, Masterful Magician, Servant of the Sanctuary. A Palladium counterpart, Palladium Oracle Mahad. An illusion counterpart, Nightmare Magician. 2 25th Anniversary counterparts, Manga Anniversary, Chronicle Magician with Blue Eyes White Dragon, and OCG Anniversary, Magicians of Bonds and Unity with Dark Magician Girl. A Shining Sarcophagus counterpart, Dark Magician, the Magician of Black Magic. Donpen and Donko are dressed as this monster and Dark Magician Girl respectively. This card, along with Blue Eyes White Dragon and Red Eyes Black Dragon, have the most alternate artworks. After Token, this card has the most alternate artworks in the OCG and TCG, with 8 in total, tied with Blue Eyes White Dragon. This excludes Dark Magician Girl, who technically has the most artworks due to small censoring differences between the Japanese and international versions. This card is both the signature card of Yami Yugi and the favorite card of Yu-Gi-Moto in the Yu-Gi-Oh! Manga and anime. As such, in the duel between Yami Yugi and Yami Bakura, Yugi's soul was infused with that of this card. This card is arguably one of the most iconic monsters in the game, along with Blue Eyes White Dragon, mainly because they were the signature cards of the main characters of the first TV series anime. This card's attack of 2500 established the attack value of other Yu-Gi-Oh! Series protagonist ace monsters, with the exception of Seven's Road Magician. including Elemental Hero Neos from Yu-Gi-Oh! GX, Stardust Dragon from Yu-Gi-Oh! 5Ds, Number 39 Utopia from Yu-Gi-Oh! Zexal, Odd Eyes Pendulum Dragon from Yu-Gi-Oh! Arc 5, Firewall Dragon from Yu-Gi-Oh! Vrains, and Galactica Oblivion from Yu-Gi-Oh! Go Rush. This card is the same attack of 2500 as the signature cards of other manga main protagonists, which are Jaden Yuki's Elemental Hero Terra Firma, Yusei Fudo's Stardust Spark Dragon, Yuma Tsukumo's Number 39 Utopia, Yuya Sakaki's Odd Eyes Phantom Dragon, Tatsuhisa Kamijo's Multi-Strike Dragon Dragass, and Udius Velgear's Galactica Oblivion. All of the aforesaid mentioned signature monsters, excluding the Rush Duel exclusives, have 2,000 defense, as well as, except for Firewall Dragon, even though this card has 2,100 defense, the Bandai version of this card has 2,000 defense. Elemental Hero Shining Flare Wingman has the same original attack and defense, 2,500 and 2,100 as Dark Magician, implying that it was Jaden's signature card before Elemental Hero Neos, who did not debut until the second season. In the Yu-Gi-Oh! Manga and Yu-Gi-Oh! The Dark Side of Dimensions, this monster features blue-colored skin, white hair, and a dark blue rod and robe. In the Yu-Gi-Oh! Anime, this monster features pink-colored skin, purple hair, a purple and blue robe, and a green rod based on the color scheme used in its early appearances in the full-colored version of the manga. This is most likely the single most supported card of all, with over 60 cards specifically stating Dark Magician as part of their effect. In addition to the Magician theme its design has inspired. This card can be seen as a Magician counterpart and partner to Buster Blader. Both cards are used as fusion material for Dark Paladin. Both cards are supported by Miracle Restoring. Both cards are supported by the parallel members of the Skilled Magician series, Skilled Dark Magician, which supports this card, and Skilled White Magician, which supports Buster Blader. On multiple occasions, this card has been mistakenly referred to as Dark Spellion. In official media, presumably due to a naive use of Find and Replace to rename Magic cards to spell cards. In Yu-Gi-Oh! World Championship Tournament 2004, Dark Magician Girls text mentions Dark Spellion and Spellion of Black Chaos. The game was released shortly after Magic cards were renamed to spell cards. In Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel, an SP deck challenge referred to Dark Magician as Dark Spellion in its description. In the first TV series anime, this card's name is Dark Wizard. As the flavor text implies, this monster has the highest attack and defense total combined sum for a normal monster. Wizard, male spellcaster. However, Cosmo Queen is a normal spellcaster with a higher combined attack and defense, but as a female, she is not technically a wizard. The flavor text may not refer to this to its attack and defense, but its high amount of spell and trap cards it has access to. Many of its support cards give Dark Magician high offensive power and defensive power, if they may not alter this card's stats. The alternate art red Dark Magician used by Arcana in the Yu-Gi-Oh! Anime and manga may be seen. Despite having the same name, he is not the same card as the purple Dark Magician, always used by Yukimoto, as it features a different 8-digit passcode, actually. And 3 of the artworks of Dark Magician, LOB and SYE and SDY, and Arcana version depict its staff green, whereas in one version, SD6 or PCY and on Dark Magic Attack, his staff is red and blue. The artwork in the Weekly Jump magazine promo version looks similar to that of a Final Fantasy character, in particular Cecile from Final Fantasy IV. This artwork was known by this artwork was actually drawn by Kazuki Takahashi. In some Game Boy Advance and Nintendo DS Yu-Gi-Oh! Games, it is possible to have 6 copies of Dark Magician in the same deck, as the game does not recognize alternate artwork cards as being the same. On the French Champion Pack Game 5 print of Thousand Knives, and in the French dub of the anime, this card is called Magicien des Ténèbres. All French TCG prints of Dark Magician and all other French prints of Thousand Knives call it Magicien Sombre. This card, along with Blue Eyes White Dragon, are the only two cards to have an official Chinese print before the release of Dual Starter Deck. Standardized Chinese as no CG language. Its Chinese version originated in Japan, therefore its Chinese name indicates the character for black, which is an exclusive one to Japanese compared to the Chinese counterpart for the character for black. This card's first OCG artwork is taken from Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel 62, Duelist Duel 3, Countdown, specifically from the panel where Dark Yugi declares an attack on Komori Dragon with this monster. This card's second OCG artwork is taken from Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel 94, Duelist Duel 35, The Magic of the Maze, specifically from the panel showing this monster being summoned, albeit with minor changes in detail. This card's third OCG artwork is taken from Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel 162, Duelist Duel 103, Magic vs. Magic. However, it is derived from two separate panels showing Pandora's copy of Dark Magician. The first panel is where the two Dark Magicians are shown together with their displayed attack values. After Pandora summons his copy of Dark Magician for the first time, the second panel is on the same page showing the same Dark Magician. For this artwork, the upper body of Pandora's Dark Magician from the first panel, barring his head, is flipped horizontally, while the head from the second panel is used as is, barring minor details. This card's fourth OCG artwork is taken from Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel 161, Duelist Duel 102, The Fatal Duel. Specifically from the panel showing this monster being summoned. This card's sixth OCG artwork is taken from Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel 341, Millennium Duel 63, The Master of Servants, specifically from the panel showing this monster being summoned. Card appearances: Dark Magician. In Yu-Gi-Oh! Manga, this card was first used in the Death T duel of the manga. The first major duel of the Nihon Ad System anime is based on the Death T duel. Yugi destroys Kaiba's Judge Man with this monster, but it was later destroyed by the third Blue Eyes White Dragon that Kaiba summons. Toei anime. In Kaiba's first appearance in the Toei anime, episode 3, he is shown stealing this card from a student at another school before transferring to Domino High. However, it was named Dark Wizard, Daku Wizado, and it had 2,000 defense and 1,800 attack. It had 2,000 attack and 1,800 defense. In episode 8, Yugimoto dueled a nurse puppet that was controlled by Ridley Sheldon. The duel was interrupted part-way through, and the episode showed a variety of cards used by both players. In the background, the monster Ghost was shown fighting a silhouette that resembled Dark Magician. Yu-Gi-Oh! Toei film. In Yu-Gi-Oh! The Toei film, Yami Yugi had a duel against Seto Kaiba and summoned this monster and used magical hats to protect it from Kaiba's Blue Eyes White Dragon. Kaiba attacked one of the hats, but the attack activated the trap card Curse of Dark Cross Star, which decreased the attack of Blue Eyes White Dragon by 700. Dark Magician attacked and destroyed the weakened Blue Eyes. During the next turn, Kaiba summoned another Blue Eyes White Dragon and destroyed this card. Nihon Ad Systems anime pre-Duelist Kingdom. In Yu-Gi-Oh! Episode 1, The Heart of the Cards, Yami Yugi uses this card in his duel against Seto Kaiba. After Yugi summons this card, he uses this card to attack and destroy Kaiba's Judge Man. Later, Kaiba's third Blue Eyes White Dragon attacks and destroys this card. In Yu-Gi-Oh! Episode 2, The Gauntlet is Thrown, Yugi uses this card during his duel against Maximilian Pegasus. He summons it without looking at it first in an effort to counter the Millennium Eye. Pegasus activates Sun Shower in response, but since this card wasn't a zombie-type monster, nothing happens. This card then attacks and destroys Komori Dragon, who Pegasus had taken control of via the effect of Dragon Piper. Pegasus then attacks this card with Illusionist Faceless Mage, who was equipped with Eye of Illusion. Due to the effect of Eye of Illusion, Illusionist Faceless Mage is not destroyed and Pegasus takes no damage. On Yugi's turn, Eye of Illusion. On Yugi's turn, Eye of Illusion switched control of this card to Pegasus. Yugi's Celtic Guardian then attacks Illusionist Faceless Mage, but the second effect of Eye of Illusion redirects the attack to this card. This card then destroys Celtic Guardian. This card remained on the field until the duel was over. Duelist Kingdom. In Yu-Gi-Oh! Episode 4, Into the Hornet's Nest, Yugi uses this card during his duel against Weevil Underwood. He sets it in defense position. Weevil then attacks this card with his basic insect, whose attack was 2150 due to the field power bonus. Laser Cannon Armor and level 2 power boost. But Yugi activates Mirror Force, destroying all of Weevil's monsters and dealing him damage equal to the differences between the attacking monster's attack and Weevil's other attack position monster's attack. In the next episode, Yugi returns this card and Torike to his deck via Monster Recovery. In Yu-Gi-Oh! Episode 9, Duel with a Ghoul, Yugi uses this card during his duel against the Impersonator of Death. After summoning this card, Yugi uses this card to attack and destroy Hitatsume Giants. After the Impersonator of Death summons Blue Eyes White Dragon, Yugi switches this card into defense position and summons Curse of Dragon in defense position. But the Impersonator activates Defense Paralysis to switch both this card and Curse of Dragon to attack position. On Yugi's next turn, he activates Magical Hats to hide this card within one of 4 hats. Blue Eyes White Dragon then attacks a hat. In the next episode, the hat is revealed to be empty. On the Impersonator's next turn, he uses Blue Eyes White Dragon to attack another hat, but that one is revealed to contain Spellbinding Circle, which decreases the attack of Blue Eyes White Dragon by 700. Yugi then releases this card from the hat it was hiding in. This card then attacks and destroys Blue Eyes White Dragon. The Impersonator then summons a second Blue Eyes White Dragon and uses it to attack and destroy this card. In the first episode, above-mentioned episode, Kaiba decides to find out which dueling platform Yugi is on via computer. He decides to use this card as a cross-reference, as Yugi would most likely use this card if he is in a duel. After crashing a satellite, he starts searching around the dueling arenas for Dark Magician, but finds none. The last active one is Arena 146. Kaiba tries to enter but finds himself unable to. Kaiba deduces it's a virus that will prevent him from searching. He then uses Virtual TNT to blow up the door, however he finds a virtual castle, which is the last defense that Kaiba has to go past. Kaiba confidently says Alcatraz, Pegasus, in the dub. The password is correct and Kaiba enters in the next episode. Kaiba goes inside and he finds out that an imposter of himself is dueling Yugi. The computer then explains how Yugi defeated the first Blue Eyes White Dragon, and this card is shown during the explanation. In Yu-Gi-Oh! Episode 12, Trial by Red Eyes, Yugi-Moto and his friends were showing to each other what their favorite card was. Yugi showed this card and states it's his favorite. Yami Bakura would later seal Yugi's soul within this card. In Yu-Gi-Oh! Episode 13, Evil Spirit of the Ring, Yami Yugi uses this card during his duel against Yami Bakura. It appears as Yugi himself dressed as the Dark Magician, and he is able to communicate with his other half through it. He then attacks and destroys Bakura's Morphing Jar, but that activates the latter's effect, forcing both players to discard their entire hand and draw 5 new cards. On Yami Yugi's next turn, Joey, who was Flame Swordsman, accidentally provokes Yugi. This is enough for Yugi to attack and destroy Yami Bakura's set monster, but the set monster is revealed to be Electric Lizard. whose effect prevents Yugi from attacking on Yami Yugi's next turn. Later, Yami Bakura activates Change of Heart to take control of Yugi so he could win the duel. But as Bakura Ryu's soul was trapped within the card, he chose to take control of Lady of Faith instead, saving Yami from losing the duel. Bakura tells Yugi to attack, but Yami doesn't want to hurt his friend. The argument continues until Yami Yugi uses his magic to make Bakura and Yami Bakura swap places. This makes Bakura Yami Yugi's opponent, and Yami Bakura Lady of Faith. Yugi then attacks and destroys Yami Bakura, winning Yami Yugi the duel, and sparing Bakura from being sent to the graveyard. This card also appeared in Yami Bakura's thoughts when he explained that he was going to use Change of Heart to take control of this card and use it to attack and destroy one of Yami Yugi's monsters and win the duel. In Yu-Gi-Oh! Episode 20, Double Trouble Duel Part 2, Yugi uses this card during his tag duel with Joey Wheeler against the Paradox Brothers. After Yugi summons this card, he moves this monster 5 spaces, so that way it is in front of Celtic Guardian, Axe Raider, and Flame Swordsman. Para then activates Magical Labyrinth to cut off Yugi and Joey's monsters from each other. Yugi later activates Mystic Box to destroy Dox's Jiraiya and get this card to where Jiraiya previously was. Yugi then uses this monster to attack and destroy Dox's Labyrinth tank. Yugi then activates Magical Hats to hide this card and Joey's Flame Swordsman from Dungeon Worm. In the next episode, the hats protect this card from the attack made by Suijin when the said attack floods the entire maze. Later on, Yugi releases this card from the hat it was hiding in and moves it forward towards the end of the maze where Gate Guardian was. He then activates Reborn the Monster to summon Dox's Suijin under his control. When Saga of the Thunder attacks this card, Yugi uses the effect of Suijin to negate the attack. Later, Kazujin attacks Suijin, but Yugi uses its effect to negate the attack. Saga of the Thunder then attacks and destroys Suijin, since the latter's effect can only be used once per turn. On the last turn of the duel, Yugi activates Monster Replace to swap the positions of this card and Black Skull Dragon. This card remained on the field until the duel was over. In Yu-Gi-Oh! Episode 22, Face Off Part 1, Yugi uses this card during his duel against Kaiba. When Kaiba uses Sword Stalker, whose attack was 2400 due to its own effect, to attack Curse of Dragon, Yugi activates Monster Replace to return Curse of Dragon to his hand and special summon this card in its place. A replay occurs and Kaiba chooses not to attack. This card then destroys Kaiba's Sword Stalker. On Yugi's next turn, this card attacks Kaiba's Lejin, the Mystical Genie of the Lamp, but Kaiba activates Ancient Lamp to redirect the attack to Curse of Dragon, destroying it. In the next episode, Yugi uses Mystic Box to destroy Ancient Lamp. This card then attacks and destroys Lejin. On Yugi's next turn, he recalls this card back to his hand and summons Gaia, the Fierce Knight. Gaia then attacks and destroys Sagi the Dark Clown, but this allows Kaiba to activate Crush card, which destroys Gaia and this card, and renders every monster that has at least 1500 attack in Yugi's deck useless. In the first above-mentioned episode, this card appears in the flashback Taya Gardner has when she remembers when Yugi rescued her. Yami Yugi challenged a thug who had knocked out Taya to a challenge utilizing his deck. He claimed that the person who drew the strongest monster wins. The thug drew Curse of Dragon and confidently claimed that this monster's attack is really high. Yami draws from the deck and gets this card, so Yami wins. The thug angrily charges forward, but Yami gives the thug a Mind Crush, knocking the thug out. In the first above-mentioned episode, this card appeared in a flashback Taya has when she remembers Yami Yugi's duel with Yami Bakura and notes to herself that there may be 2 Yugis. In the first above-mentioned episode, this card appears in the flashback Taya Gardner has when she remembers Yami Yugi's duel with Yami Bakura and notes to herself that there may be 2 Yugis. In Yu-Gi-Oh! Episode 29, Dual Identity Part 1, Yugi uses this card during his duel against Mai Valentine. He summons it in defense position and sets Mirror Force. Mai then activates Shadow of Eyes to switch this card into attack position and force it to attack Harpy Lady. The effect of Mirror Wall then negates the attacks and halves this card's attack. After Mai activates Harpy's Feather Duster to destroy Yugi's set Mirror Force. Harpy's pet dragon, whose attack was 2300 due to its own effect, then attacks and destroys this card. In Yu-Gi-Oh! Episode 33, Best of Friends, Best of Duelists, Part 1, this card appears when Yami Yugi explains to Joey that Duel Monsters is about the balance between monster, spell, and trap cards. In Yu-Gi-Oh! Episode 34, Best of Friends, Best of Duelists, Part 2, Yugi uses this card during his duel against Joey Wheeler. After this card is summoned, Yugi activates Magical Hats to hide this card within one of 4 hats. Black Skull Dragon attacks a hat, but it turns out to be empty. Joey summons Garuzi in an attempt to get Yugi to this card out, but Yugi doesn't fall for it. Black Skull Dragon attacks another hat, but that turns out to be an empty too. On Joey's next turn, Black Skull Dragon destroys a hat, but it's revealed to contain a Spellbinding Circle, which paralyzes Black Skull Dragon and decreases its attack by 700. Yugi then releases this card from the hat it was under and equips this card with Book of Secret Arts, which increases this card's attack and defense by 300. This card then attacks and destroys Black Skull Dragon. Later this card attacks Baby Dragon, but Joey activates Kunai with Chain to stop the attack and immobilize this card. Later, Joey activates the effect of Time Wizard. Joey succeeds in the gamble, so the effect of Time Wizard transforms Baby Dragon into Thousand Dragon, but this also transforms this card into Dark Sage. In Yu-Gi-Oh! Episode 35, Yugi vs. Pegasus, Match of the Millennium, Part 1. This card can be seen when Yugi looks through his deck before his duel with Pegasus begins. This card also appears in Yugi's thoughts when he notes it will take all the wisdom his grandfather taught him and all the power in his cards to defeat Pegasus. In episode 36, the Yugi versus Pegasus Match of the Millennium Part 2, Yugi draws this card during his duel against Pegasus. In the next episode, Yugi summons this card and activates Magical Hats to hide this card within one of 4 hats. Pegasus then tries to read Yugi's mind to find this card's location, but Yugi and Yami Yugi switch minds to prevent this from happening. Toon Summon Skull then attacks a hat, but it turns out to be empty. On Pegasus' next turn, Toon Summon Skull attacks another hat, but that hat turns out to be empty too. Later, Pegasus activates Magical Neutralizing Force to get rid of the other hats and expose this card. Pegasus then uses Toon Summon Skull to attack this card, but Yugi activates Living Arrow to activate the effect of Magical Neutralizing Force and destroy Toon World. Yugi then activates Mirror Force to deflect the attack right back at Pegasus' untoonified monsters, destroying them and inflicting damage to Pegasus equal to the attack difference between Toon Summon Skull and the destroyed monsters. In the following episode, Yugi uses this card to attack Pegasus' Relinquished, but Pegasus destroys the Curse of Dragon equipped onto Relinquished to prevent Relinquished from being destroyed. Due to the last effect of Relinquished, Yami Yugi takes the battle damage that Pegasus would have taken. Pegasus then activates the effect of Relinquished to equip this card onto it and make its attack and defense the same as this card's. In the next episode, Yami Yugi activates Mystic Box to make this card and Jigen Bakudan switch places. This frees this monster from Relinquished and makes Jigen Bakudan the equipped card on Relinquished instead. On Yami Yugi's next turn, he activates Brain Control to take control of Pegasus' Relinquished until the end phase. Yugi then activates Dark Magic Ritual and to tribute this card and Jigen Bakudan in order to ritual summon Magician of Black Chaos. In Yu-Gi-Oh! Episode 40, Aftermath, this card guards the mind of Yami Yugi from Shadi when this monster tries to attack Yugi and Shadi due to them intruding. Shadi tries to summon the Blue Eyes White Dragon and use it to destroy this monster. However, regular Yugi convinces Shadi to stand down. Thanks to Yugi's convincing, this card stopped his attack and withdrew back his staff. Shadi was surprised that this card was able to obey Yugi, and this made him realize that he must be the one. Post-Duelist Kingdom. In Yu-Gi-Oh! Episode 42, The Ties of Friendship. Yugi uses this card during his duel against Rebecca Hawkins. He sets this card in defense position. Rebecca then activates Stop Defense to switch this card into attack position. Shadow Ghoul, whose attack was 2700 due to its own effect, then attacks and destroys this card. Later, Yugi activates Monster Reborn to revive this card. On Yugi's next turn, this card attacks and destroys Rebecca's Cannon Soldier. This causes the attack of Shadow Ghoul to increase to 2800. Yugi could have won the duel if he had activated Soul Release to banish 5 of Rebecca's monsters and decrease the attack of Shadow Ghoul by 500, which would allow this card to attack and destroy it. However, Yugi surrendered the duel because he wanted to show Rebecca there is more to a duel than winning. In Yu-Gi-Oh! Episode 43, Legendary Heroes Part 1, Yugi summons this card when he, Joey, and Mokuba Kaiba had to defeat 3 zombies. Mokuba's Rude Kaiser attacks and destroys Dragon Zombie, while this card attacks and destroys Armored Zombie and Clown Zombie. The zombies then revive themselves and become stronger. Later, Joey activates Shield and Sword to swap the attack and defense of all monsters on the field, which made the attack of the zombies 0. This card then attacks and destroys the 3 zombies. In Yu-Gi-Oh! Episode 45, Legendary Heroes Part 3, Yugi summons this card to fight off an array of fleeing foes that were guarding the Castle of Dark Illusions. A bunch of Mega Thunderballs later attack the flying machine, causing Yugi to fall down. A Whiptail Crow lunges forward, but Iru jumps in and takes the attack, causing her to be destroyed. This card then attacks and destroys the Whiptail Crow. After the gang defeat the army, Mai activates Elegant Egotist to transform the Harpy Lady into the Harpy Lady Sisters and use them to take this card and Guilty of the Dark Knight with them to the castle. In Yu-Gi-Oh! Episode 46, Dungeon Dice Monsters Part 1, this card is shown on some TV monitors that were showing the duels that occurred in Duelist Kingdom. In Yu-Gi-Oh! Episode 49, Dungeon Dice Monsters Part 4, Yugi uses the Dungeon Dice Monsters version of this card against Duke Devlin. It destroys Duke's Orgoth the Relentless. Duke then attempts to destroy this monster using Monster Cannon and Dark Assailant, but Yugi uses its Magical Hats ability to save it. Its other ability, Mystic Box, is then used to destroy Yaranzo and move Dark Magician in front of Duke's last heart point. It then attacks to win Yugi the match. Battle City, in Yu-Gi-Oh! Episode 51, The Mystery Duel Part 2, Yugi uses this card during his duel against Bandit Keith, while the latter was possessed by Merrick Ishtar. He summons this card in defense position. Yugi then activates Magical Hats to hide this card with one of 4 hats. Keith then activates Magic Jammer, discarding a card to negate this card's effect and destroy it. Keith then activates Curse of Fiend, switching this card and Zera the Mant to attack position. And switching Seiyaru to defense position. Zera the Mant then attacks this card, but Yugi activates Mirror Control Yugi activates Mirror Force to destroy all attack position monsters Keith controls. Keith then activates Solemn Judgment, paying half his life points to negate the effect of Mirror Force and destroy it. Zera the Mant then destroys this card. In Yu-Gi-Oh! Episode 53, Steppin' Out, Yami Yugi uses this card during his duel against Johnny Steps. After this card is summoned, Yami uses this card to attack and destroy Heavy Metal King. Johnny wondered why the effect of Metal Morph did not activate. Yami Yugi explains that was because he attacked, not Johnny. Therefore, the effect of Metal Morph didn't increase the attack of heavy metal didn't increase the attack of Heavy Metal King when it battled this card. Upon finding out who Yugi is, upon finding out who Yugi is, Johnny surrenders, and he realizes that he couldn't beat Yugi if he had defeated Pegasus. This card also appears on a poster that Yugi and Taya Gardner read when they find a game store that was selling Duel Monsters cards. In Yu-Gi-Oh! Episode 54, Obelisk the Tormentor, this card is shown at the bottom of Yami Yugi's deck when he takes it out and tells Taya that he and Yugi created the deck they were used together. In Yu-Gi-Oh! Episode 55, Stalked by the Rare Hunters, this card is shown on the computer screen as Yugi's rarest card when he registers to compete in Battle City. In Yu-Gi-Oh! Episode 56, Stalked by Rare Hunters, this card is shown. On the computer screen as Yugi's rarest card when he registers to compete in Battle City. In Yu-Gi-Oh! Episode 56, Yugi vs. the Rare Hunter, Part 1, this card is shown on Seeker's computer when he was researching the Battle City participants and trying to figure out who should he duel first. This card is shown to be Yugi's rarest card. In Yu-Gi-Oh! Episode 60, The Master of Magicians, Part 1, Yugi uses this card during his duel against Arcana. He tribute summons this card by tributing Alpha the Magnet Warrior and Legion the Fiend Jester, who Yugi took control of via Brain Control. This card then attacks directly. In the next episode, Arcana activates the Mystical Guillotine to destroy this card. But Yugi activates Magical Hats to create 4 hats and hide this card in one of them. Mystical Guillotine then destroys a hat, but it's revealed to be empty. Arcana then activates 1,000 Knives to destroy this card, but Yugi activates Curse Breaker, which negates and destroys 1,000 Knives and Magical Hats. Arcana's Dark Magician then attacks this card, causing both monsters to be destroyed in a double KO. Arcana and Yugi then both activate Monster Reborn to special summon their Dark Magicians from the graveyard. Arcana later activates Beckon to the Dark to destroy this card, but Yugi activates Mystical Ref Panel to negate Beckon to the Dark and use the effect of Beckon to the Dark to destroy Arcana's Dark Magician. However, Arcana activates Nightmare's Chains, which negates Mystical Ref Panel and renders this card unable to attack or defend Yugi. Arcana's Dark Magician then attacks directly. Later, Arcana uses the effect of Ectoplasmer to tribute his Dark Magician, but this causes this card to be automatically tributed, which allows Yugi to avoid the damage that Ectoplasmer would have inflicted to him. In the following episode, this card can be seen in Yami Yugi's graveyard when Arcana protests that Yugi only has one copy of this card in his graveyard. In Yu-Gi-Oh! Episode 65, Mind Control, Part 1, this card appears in Yami Yugi's hand during his duel against Strings, while the latter was possessed by Merrick Ishtar. It should be noted that this is an error, as Yami Yugi is not seen with this card in his hand in the next 2 episodes. In Yu-Gi-Oh! Episode 74, The Rescue, this card appears all 3 times when small clips are shown going through a blue background before we see a flashback of a Battle City duel or duels. In Yu-Gi-Oh! Episode 99, Isolated in Cyberspace, Part 1, this card appears when Yami Yugi was building his virtual world deck for his duel against Gansley. This card was one of the few known cards that Yami Yugi selects to be placed into his deck. After selecting the cards that will be in his deck, Yami Yugi has to choose who his deck master will be. Yami Yugi was about to choose this card as his deck master since it never let him down. But Karibo selects itself instead. In Yu-Gi-Oh! 103, in Yu-Gi-Oh! Episode 103, Freeze Play, Part 2, Yugi draws this card while he was going through a door puzzle. He was about to use this card, but Yami Yugi convinces him to save it for later. Later, Yugi finds Taya Gardner dueling Crump. On the final turn of the duel, Taya activates Sage's Stone to place the latter in one monster card zone as this card for this turn. As one card for this turn. The anime, however, depicts Yugimoto's copy of this card being summoned to Taya's side of the field. This card then attacks and destroys Defender Iceberg. Dark Magician Girl then attacks directly, winning the duel for Taya. This card also appears in a flashback Taya has when the card also appears in a flashback Taya has when she remembers Yugi talking about Mahavelo, looking similar to him, and having a great power inside of its effects. This card also appears in a flashback. Taya asked if this card was similar to Yugi. Yugi noted it wasn't despite it being his favorite card, but it was more fitting for his other self, Yami Yugi. In Yu-Gi-Oh! Episode 106, Mechanical Mayhem, Part 1, this card can be seen. When Duke Devlin, Tristan Taylor, and Serenity Wheeler were building their virtual world decks for their duels, for their duel against Nesbit. In Yu-Gi-Oh! Episode 108, Settling the Score, Part 1, this card can be seen when Seto Kaiba was building his virtual world deck for his duel against Lecter. In Yu-Gi-Oh! Episode 119, in Yu-Gi-Oh! Episode 111, Merger of the Big Five, Part 1, Yami Yugi uses this card as his deck master during his tag duel with Joey against the Big Five. In the next episode, this card remained on the sidelines. In the following episode, Yugi moves this card to the field. He then activates Polymerization to fuse this card with Joey's deckmaster, Flame Swordsman, in order to fusion summon Dark Flare Knight. At the end of the battle phase, the last effect of Mirage Knight vanishes itself and revives this card and Flame Swordsman in its place. Yugi then activates Magical Hats to hide this card within one of 4 hats. He then activates his deckmaster's special ability to duplicate the effect of Magical Hats and hide Joey's Flame Swordsman within one of 4 hats. Lecter's Berserk Dragon then attacks all the hats on Yugi's side of the field due to its effect. The 3 empty hats are destroyed, but before this card could be destroyed, Joey orders his Flame Swordsman to intercept the attack. Joey then activates Silver Dollar to prevent his monster from being destroyed and to nullify the battle damage he would have taken. Later, Joey activates Knight's Title to tribute this card and special summon Dark Magician Knight. In the first above-mentioned episode, this card can be seen when Yami, Yugi, and Joey were building their virtual world decks for their duel against the Big Five. This is the only known card Yugi selects. In the second above-mentioned episode, this card appears in the flashback Yugi has when he explains how his Des Volgaf gained 200 attack, despite that he had no spell or traps on his side of the field. In the third above-mentioned episode, this card appears in a flashback Yami Yugi has when he remembers Joey using the deckmaster ability of Flame Swordsman to transfer 1,000 of its attack to Rocket Warrior, which is why Joey was able to use Silver Dollar on Flame Swordsman when it intercepted the attack Berserk Dragon made on Dark Magician. In Yu-Gi-Oh! Episode 117, Noah's Final Threat, Part 1, Yugi uses this card during his duel against Noah Kaiba. He tribute summons this card by tributing Sangan and Gamma the Magnet Warrior.
This card then attacks directly. Noah then targets this card in order to activate Next World, allowing Noah to summon a spirit monster in his hand with the same level as this card with no tributes. Noah then normal summons Yamata Dragon and uses it to attack and destroy this card. The Deckmaster ability of Shinato, King of a Higher Plane, then activates, increasing Noah's life points by the damage Yugi took. In the next episode, Yugi revives this card via Dark Renewal. After Yugi activates Dark Magic Ritual to ritual summon Magician of Black Chaos, all three magicians attack directly, but Noah activates Chaos Barrier Field to negate the attack and force Dark Magician Girl and force Magician of Black Chaos to battle instead. Magician of Black Chaos then destroys Dark Magician Girl. The Deckmaster ability of Shinato then activates, increasing Noah's life points by the damage Yugi took. Later, Magician of Black Chaos attacks and destroys Noah's set Otohime, but this activates the latter's effect, switching this card to defense position. On Noah's next turn, he activates Change of Heart to take control of this card. He then tributes this card and a spirit token that was created via Vessel of Illusion in order to tribute summon Hino Kagu Suchi. In episode 120, Burying the Past Part 1, Yugi summons this card to attack the monsters that were blocking the group's way to the virtual world's exits. This card and Rocket Warrior then attack together to destroy Cosmo Queen. In the next episode, this card and Flame Swordsman work together to destroy the remaining army. This card is shown destroying Lizard Soldier and later Command Knight. In Yu-Gi-Oh! In the Battle City Finals, in Yu-Gi-Oh! Episode 131, Clash in the Coliseum Part 3, Yugi discards this card by the effect of Life Shaver during his duel against Kaiba. In the next episode, Yugi activates Monster Reborn to revive this card. On Yugi's next turn, this card attacks Kaiba's Lord of Dragons, but Kaiba activates Magical Trick Mirror to activate Yugi's monster, reborn from the graveyard as Kaiba's card, allowing Kaiba to revive Obelisk the Tormentor and use it to intercept the attack. This causes the attack to fail. In the following episode, one of Blue Eyes White Dragon attacks this card, but Yugi activates Magician's Selection to negate the attack and destroy Lord of Dragons. In the next episode, Yugi uses the effect of Kaiba's Polymerization, though through the effect of Double Spell, to fuse this card with Buster Blader in order to fusion summon Dark Paladin. In the first above-mentioned episode, this card is seen in a series of flashbacks Kaiba has when he notes to himself that he always feels excited when he duels against Yugi. In Yu-Gi-Oh! Episode 135, Battle for the Bronze, Part 1, this card is seen in a flashback Yugi has when he remembers that he couldn't have defeated Kaiba without Joey's help. This card is also shown in another flashback Yugi has when he explains to Kaiba that he and Joey defeated Kaiba with Red Eyes Black Dragon, which he allowed Yugi to keep in his deck for the time being. In Yu-Gi-Oh! Episode 137, Battle for the Bronze, Part 3, this card appears when Ishizu tells Kaiba that the sorcerer that resembles him may have been the ancient pharaoh's rival, but he was also the pharaoh's friend. In Yu-Gi-Oh! Episode 138, The Final Face-Off Part 1, this card can be seen in Yami Yugi's hand during his duel against Yami Merrick. 2 episodes later, Yugi special summons this card via the effect of Magical Dimension. He then activates Ragnarok. In the next episode, Yugi uses Ragnarok in the next episode to destroy the Winged Dragon of Ra and banish it. This allows Merrick to regain control of his body. Merrick then surrenders the duel, which renders Yugi the winner by default. In Yu-Gi-Oh! Episode 144, Looking Back and Moving Ahead, this card appears in a flashback Taya has when she remembers Noah turning Joey to stone, and herself claiming to Noah that he is a pitiful child, with Noah claiming the goddess of victory comes to the chosen ones, and he himself has chosen Yugi to help him. But Yugi refuses. Waking the Dragons. In Yu-Gi-Oh! Episode 146, A New Evil, Part 2, Yugi uses this card during his duel against Gurumo. He discards this card to the graveyard via the effect of Graceful Charity. After Gurumo summons Warrior Dai Greffair, Yami Yugi activates Dark Renewal to tribute Wadapon and Warrior Dai Greffer, and revive this card. This card then attacks directly, but Gurmo activates Shield Wall to special summon 4 shield tokens and use 1 token to intercept the attack. This card then destroys a token. Later, Warrior Digreffer, whose attack was 3,000 due to the Seal of Orichalcos. The A Forces then attacks and destroys this card. In Yu-Gi-Oh! Episode 148, The Creator Returns. This card appears in Yugi's thoughts when Yami Yugi notes that although Pegasus no longer has the Millennium Eye, he was the Chosen One and he was the creator of Duel Monsters. In Yu-Gi-Oh! Episode 157, Fate of the Pharaoh Part 2. This card is shown in Yami Yugi's hand during his duel against Raphael. In the next episode, Yami Yugi tribute summons this card by tributing Gazelle, the King of Mythical Beasts, and Baphomet. This card then gains 500 attack due to the Seal of Orichalcos. Dark Magician was shown trying to resist the power of the seal before he got fully corrupted. After Kura Babylon attacks and destroys Guardian Grarl, Yami Yugi uses this card to attack Raphael's backup Gardna, but Raphael activates Aid of the Doomed from his hand in order to discard 2 cards and end Yami Yugi's turn. Later, Yami Yugi activates the effect of Catapult Turtle to tribute this card and inflict damage to Raphael equal to half of this card's total attack. On the last turn of the duel, Raphael activates the effect of Guardian Eatos to banish this card. Dark Magician Girl, Gazelle the King of Mythical Beasts, Baphomet, and Big Shield Gardna, and increase the attack of Guardian Eatos by the total attack of the banished monsters. In Yu-Gi-Oh! Episode 159, Trial by Stone, this card is shown when Weevil Underwood and Rex Raptor are taken to a vault within Paradisius' headquarters. That contains copies of every card in existence with the exception of the legendary dragons and the Egyptian gods. In Yu-Gi-Oh! Episode 160, On the Wrong Track, Part 1, this card is seen in a flashback Yami Yugi has when he saw that his own monsters were angry at him for his selfish actions and when he lost his duel with Raphael. In Yu-Gi-Oh! Episode 161, On the Wrong Track, Part 2, this card is shown in a series of flashbacks that Joey has when he recalls all of the hardship that he endured in the past and explains to Rex that anybody who loses so many times should keep trying and never give up. In Yu-Gi-Oh! Episode 163, Self-Destruction, Ironheart picks this card up from the ground after Yami Yugi drops it while being flung from the train after dueling Weevil. In Yu-Gi-Oh! Episode 175, Grappling with a Guardian, Part 2, Yami Yugi uses this card during his duel against Raphael. He summons this card via Dark Magic Curtain. This card then attacks Guardian Elma, who had 2100 attack due to Butterfly Dagger Elma and the Seal of Orichalcos. But Raphael activates Guardian Formation to negate the attack and move Guardian Elma to his spell and trap card zone, which he could do due to the Seal of Orichalcos. The second effect of Guardian Formation then activates, allowing Raphael to take Celestial Sword Eatos from his deck and immediately activate it, equipping it to backup Gardna. Raphael then special summons Guardian Eatos since he had no monsters in his graveyard like this card before it. Guardian Eatos is shown resisting the power of the Orichalcos before it got corrupted. Raphael then activates the effect of backup Gardna to equip Celestial Sword Eatos onto Guardian Eatos instead. Yami Yugi then tributes Kura Bandit to draw 5 cards and discard 3 monsters. Raphael then activates the effect of Guardian Eatos to send Celestial Sword Eatos to the graveyard and banish Gazelle, the King of Mythical Beasts, Gamma the Magnet Warrior, and Kura Bandit, as well as increase the attack of Guardian Eatos by the attack of the banished monsters until the end phase. Guardian Eatos then attacks this card, but Yami Yugi activates the effect of the Electromagnetic Turtle, who was sent to the graveyard by the effect of Kura Bandit, in his graveyard to end the battle phase. The attack of Guardian Eatos returns to 3000 on Raphael's end phase. Yami Yugi then summons Big Shield Gardna and switches this card to defense position. Guardian Eatos then attacks this card, but Yugi activates Magical Hats to create 4 hats and shuffle them up with his 2 monsters. The attack of Eatos then destroys a hat, and it is revealed to contain Big Shield Gardna. Raphael then uses Guardian Elma to destroy a token. Guardian Grarl then attacks a hat, but it's revealed to be empty, so this card was saved for the moment. On Yami Yugi's turn, he activates Eye of Timaeus to merge the latter with this card in order to special summon Amulet Dragon. In the next episode, Yugi activates the effect of Underworld Circle to revive this card. Later, Guardian Dreadsith attacks this card, but Yami activates Zero Gravity to switch the battle positions of all monsters on the field, which switches all monsters on the field to defense position. Raphael then activates Spirit Hunting to switch Dreadsith to attack position and destroy both this card and Jack's Knight, since they were both in defense position. In Yu-Gi-Oh! Episode 182, A Duel with Darts, Part 6, Yami Yugi summons this card to aid in the battle against the Great Leviathan. Yami, Joey, and Kaiba, after bringing out 3 monsters each, then summoned their legendary dragons. Yugi then used Legend of Heart to transform the dragons into the 3 legendary knights. All the monsters summoned by Yami, Joey, and Kaiba then attack the Great Leviathan, but it doesn't work. When the Great Leviathan counterattacks, Yami quickly has Timaeus absorb the power of Big Shield Gardna to protect everyone from the attack. While this saves the chosen duelists and the legendary knights, it doesn't save the other monsters summoned by the chosen duelists, as they were destroyed by the attack. In Yu-Gi-Oh! Episode 184, Rise of the Great Beast, Part 2, this card appears in the flashback Yami Yugi has when he remembers playing the Seal of Orichalcos against Yugi's better judgment. Grand Championship. In Yu-Gi-Oh! Episode 193, A Brawl in a Small Town, Part 2, Yugi uses this card during his duel against Vivian Wong. Dragon Lady, whose attack was 2800 due to its being equipped with Lightning Saber, then attacks and destroys this card. Vivian then uses the effect of Lightning Saber to half the attack of Dragon Lady until the end phase and allow it to attack again. Dragon Lady then attacks directly. Later, Yugi activates Monster Reincarnation to return this card to his deck. He then attributes Skilled Dark Magician, who had 3 spell counters, through its own effect in order to special summon this card. Yugi then activates Polymerization to fuse this card with Buster Blader in order to fusion summon Dark Paladin. In Yu-Gi-Oh! Episode 196, Sinister Secrets Part 1, this card is shown within Leon's backstory flashback when he explains how he became fascinated into duel monsters after discovering the game. This card is later shown again when Leon is shown watching Yugi's duels on television. In Yu-Gi-Oh! Episode 198, Sinister Secrets Part 3, Yugi uses this card during his duel against Leon von Schroeder. It was sent to the graveyard via the maintenance cost of Golden Castle of Stromberg. Later, Yugi activates Monster Reborn to revive this card. Yugi then activates Necromancy to special summon 4 random monsters from Leon's graveyard from his side of the field in defense position. Yugi then activates Diffusion Wave Motion to allow this card to attack all of Leon's monsters once each. This card then attacks and destroys Little Red Riding Hood, Forest Hunter, Iron Hans, and Iron Knight. Due to the effect of Necromancy, the attack of Hextrude decreases by 2400, 600 for each Necromancy revived monster that was destroyed. This card then attacks and destroys Hextrude, winning Yami Yugi the duel. Dawn of the Duel. In Yu-Gi-Oh! Episode 200, Spiritual Awakening, this card appears within Yami Yugi's mind when Yami Bakura claims to him that his mind is an unsolvable maze and that he pursues games like riddles. During this arc, it is revealed that the Dark Magician is the reincarnation of Mahad, a servant of Pharaoh Atem, fused together with the Illusion Magician. He was the owner of the Millennium Ring before he was killed by the Thief King Bakura. In Yu-Gi-Oh! Episode 219, in the name of the Pharaoh, Yugi uses this card to fight Zork and his evil zombies. This card was then joined by Mana's Ka, Dark Magician Girl. The two of them then proceeded in destroying the zombies and blasting their attacks at Zork. Despite all the attacks that Yugi and his friends and allies threw at Zork, he remained unharmed by the attacks. Zork then destroys Tristan's Super Robo Yaru, Joey's Red Eyes Black Dragon, and Tea's Fire Sorcerer, causing Yugi's friends to take damage equal to the original attack of their respective destroyed monsters. Zork then destroys this monster and Dark Magician Girl, causing Yugi to take damage equal to the original attack of this card, as well as causing Mana to suffer damage herself since her claw was destroyed. In Yu-Gi-Oh! Episode 223, the final duel part 3, Yami Yugi uses this card during his duel against Yugi. He summons this card through the effect of Dark Magic Curtain. Yami Yugi then equips this card with the Book of Secret Arts, increasing its attack and defense by 300. This card then attacks and destroys Summoned Skull. In the next episode, this card attacks and destroys Yugi's Curse of Dragon. On Yami Yugi's next turn, he equips this card with Dark Spear, which grants this card the ability to inflict piercing damage. This card then attacks Blockman, but Yugi activates Soul Shield to prevent Blockman from being destroyed and reduce the battle damage he would take to 0. After that, Soul Shield ends the battle phase. Later, Yugi activates the effect of Gandora the Dragon of Destruction to destroy and banish this card. But Yami Yugi activates Dark Illusion to make this card immune to effect monster effects to this turn and allow Yugi to draw 1 card. This card then attacks directly, but Yugi activates Magician Circle to allow both players to special summon a spellcaster type monster. Yugi chooses to special summon Silent Magician level 0, while Yami chooses to special summon Dark Magician Girl. A replay then occurs, and Yami Yugi uses this card to attack Silent Magician level 0, but Yugi activates Spell Textbook to discard his entire hand and draw 1 card. The card is then revealed to be the Card of Sanctity. Because of that, Yugi activates the effect of Card of Sanctity immediately, forcing both players to draw until they had 6 cards. Since Yami Yugi drew 5 new cards, Silent Magician level 0 gained 2500 attack. Yami Yugi then activates Magician's Unite to make the attack of this card 3000 for this attack. Silent Magician level 0 then destroys this card due to the effect of Magician's Unite. Dark Magician Girl is destroyed. Capsule Monsters. In Yu-Gi-Oh! Capsule Monsters, this monster was used as companion of Dark Magician, who fused with him to get dual armor based in Dark Magician and another armor based in the evolution of Dark Magician, Magician of Black Chaos. Yu-Gi-Oh! GX. In Yu-Gi-Oh! GX, Episode 5, The Shadow Duelist, Part 1, this card appears at the bottom of an underground lake as Cyrus Truesdale tells his scary story. In Yu-Gi-Oh! GX, Episode 18, The King of the Copycats, Part 1, Dimitri uses this card during his duel against Jaden Yuki, while the former was using Yugi's deck. Dimitri discards this card in order to activate Monster Reincarnation. After Jaden summons Dark Catapulter, Dimitri activates Dark Renewal to tribute Dark Catapulter and Gazelle, the King of Mystical Beasts, and revive this card. Later, this card attacks directly. On Dimitri's next turn, he uses this card to attack and destroy Rottweiler. The effect of Rottweiler then activates, allowing Jaden to add Elemental Hero Burstinatrix and Polymerization from the graveyard to his hand. On Dimitri's next turn, he uses this card to attack Elemental Hero Burstinatrix, but Jaden activates a Hero Emerges to make Dimitri select 1 card in his hand. Dimitri chooses 1 card in Jaden's hand, and Jaden reveals it to be Elemental Hero Blade Edge. Because of that, Jaden special summons Blade Edge in attack position. A replay then occurs, and Dimitri chooses not to attack. Dimitri activates Dedication through Light and Darkness to tribute this card and special summon Dark Magician of Chaos. This card is also shown when Dimitri is shown looking through Yugi's deck. This card also appears within Cyrus Truesdale's thoughts when he tells Jaden that Yugi's deck doesn't have the Egyptian god cards, but it does have this card and Dark Magician Girl. Yu-Gi-Oh! GX Episode 19, The King of the Copycats. Part 2, this card is shown when Dimitri drops Yugi's cards after he lost to Jaden. In Yu-Gi-Oh! GX Episode 168, The Graduation Duels begin. Neos versus Horus the Black Flame Dragon. This card can be seen in a display among others, as part of a replica of Yugimoto's deck. In Yu-Gi-Oh! GX episode 179, Farewell Judai, a tearful graduation ceremony, Yugi uses this card during his duel against Jaden. He special summons this card via Magical Dimension. Yugi then activates the final effect of Magical Dimension to destroy Elemental Hero Flame Wingman. This card then attacks directly, but Jaden activates Negate Attack to negate the attack and end the battle phase. On Yugi's next turn, this card attacks directly, but Jaden activates a Hero Emerges to make Yugi select one card in his hand. Yugi selects a card and Jaden reveals it to be Elemental Hero Neos. So the latter card is special summoned in attack position. A replay then occurs and Yugi chooses not to attack. In the next episode, Jaden equips Neos with Neos Force, increasing its attack by 800. Neos attacks this card, but Yugi activates Mirror Force to destroy all of Jaden's attack position monsters. Jaden then activates Death and Rebirth to revive Neos and destroy Dark Magician, but Yugi activates Shift to switch the target of Death and Rebirth to obnoxious Celtic Guardian, destroying the latter card instead. Neos then attacks this card as the effect of Death and Rebirth, forces it to attack this turn, causing both monsters to be destroyed in a double KO. In the first above-mentioned episode, this card can be seen in a display case among other cards as part of a replica of Yugi's deck. Yu-Gi-Oh! 5Ds. It is implied that the leader of Magicians 4 owns it due to his signature card being Dark Eradicator Warlock. Yu-Gi-Oh! Zexal. This monster statue appears in Yu-Gi-Oh! Zexal Episode 15, Training Days Part 1. Yu-Gi-Oh! 7's. A model of this monster appears in Yu-Gi-Oh! 7's Episode 25, Maximum Mayhem. In Yu-Gi-Oh! 7's Episode 60, Legend of the Sevens, Swirly uses this card during his duel against Mimi Amimi. He tribute summons this card by attributing Celtic Guardian and an unknown monster. In Yu-Gi-Oh! 7's Episode 81, Mind Wiped Otes uses this card during his duel against Yuga Goha. He special summons this card via Magic Curtain. Yu-Gi-Oh! Go Rush. In Yu-Gi-Oh! Go Rush, Episode 20, The Rovian Bandit, this card appears in a card shop display. Yu-Gi-Oh! The Movie, Pyramid of Light. Yami Yugi uses this card during his duel against Kaiba. He special summons this card via Sage's Stone. Yami Yugi then tributes this card in Dark Magician Girl in order to special summon Sorcerer of Dark Magic. Yu-Gi-Oh! 3D, Bonds Beyond Time. Yugi uses this card during his duel with Jaden Yuki and Yusei Fudo against Paradox. He adds this card from his deck to his hand via the effect of Yusei's Reincarnation of Hope. Yugi then activates Ancient Rules to special summon this card from his hand. Yugi then activates Bond Between Teacher and Student to special summon Dark Magician Girl from his deck. Due to the second effect of Malefic Paradox Dragon, both this card and Dark Magician Girl lose attack equal to the attack of Stardust Dragon. After Yugi activates Magic Gate of Miracles to take control of Stardust Dragon, the attack of this card, Neos Knight and Dark Magician Girl, revert to their original value. Yugi then activates Dark Magic Twin Burst to increase this card's attack by the attack of Dark Magician Girl. This card then attacks and destroys Malefic Paradox Dragon. Paradox then activates Malefic Paradigm Shift in order to special summon Malefic Truth Dragon. On Yami Yugi's end phase, the effect of Dark Magician Twin Burst expires. Later, Malefic Blue Eyes White Dragon attacks and destroys this card. This activates the second effect of Malefic Truth Dragon, which would destroy all monsters Yugi, Jaden, and Yusei controls and inflict 800 damage to them for each monster destroyed this way. But Yusei tributes Stardust Dragon to negate the effect of Malefic Truth Dragon and to destroy it. Paradox then activates the second effect of Malefic Truth Dragon to banish Malefic Rainbow Dragon from his graveyard and prevent Malefic Truth Dragon from being destroyed. After Stardust Dragon revives itself during the end phase via its own effect, Yusei activates Stardust Mirage to revive all monsters destroyed this turn, including this card. This card remained on the field until the duel was over. Scripted Duels. In the non-canon duel, North American WCQ 2011 Special, Yugi vs. Yusei, Yugi summons this card with Sage's Stone. It attacks directly, but Yusei reduces the damage to 0 with Defense Draw. The next turn, it destroys Quillbolt Hedgehog in battle, and Yugi uses it for the fusion summon of Dark Paladin. On Yugi's last turn, it is summoned again with Dayfusion and attacks Yusei directly. In the non-canon duel, YCS Providence 2012 Special, Mai, Joey, and Yugi versus Pegasus and Bakura, Yugi summons this card with Sage's Stone. He targets it with both Magician's Unite and Diffusion Wave Motion to attack and destroy Pegasus's Toon Cannon Soldier, Toon Gemini Elf, Toon Goblin Attack Force, Toon Masked Sorcerer, and Toon Summoned Skull. It is then destroyed by Yami Bakura's Jogan the Spiritualist. On Yugi's last turn, it is summoned again with Premature Burial, and it is used for the fusion summon of Dark Paladin. In the non-canon duel, World Championship 2013 Special, Mai vs. Yugi, Yugi summons this card on his first turn with Sage's Stone and equips it with Magic Formula. It attacks Mai's Harpy Channeler, causing it to be affected by Mai's Mirror Wall. It is then used to fill the activation requirement of Thousand Knives when it is attacked by Mai's Harpy's Pet Dragon and Cyber Harpy Lady. Yugi protects it with Magical Hats. It is then used for the ritual summon of Magician of Black Chaos. In the non-canon duel, North American WCQ 2014 Special, Astral vs. Yugi, Yugi special summons this card from the deck on his first turn by the effect of Skilled Dark Magician. Yugi declares a direct attack, but Astral responds to the attack by summoning Gagaga Gardena. A replay occurs, and this card attacks Gagaga Gardena, which is not destroyed by its own effect. The next turn, this card is destroyed by battle by Astral's number 39 Utopia. The turn after that, Yugi special summons this card again from the graveyard with Monster Reborn and tributes it for the cost of Dedication through Light and Darkness. Later, Yugi special summons this card for the third time with Premature Burial and tributes it for the cost of Knight's Title. Finally, it is assumed this card's presence in the graveyard increases the attack and defense of Yugi's Dark Magician Girl. Video games, Yugi uses this card in Yu-Gi-Oh! Nightmare Troubadour. Yami Yugi uses this card in Yu-Gi-Oh! The Eternal Duelist Soul, Yu-Gi-Oh! World Championship Tournament 2004, Yu-Gi-Oh! Nightmare Troubadour, and Yu-Gi-Oh! World Championship 2008. Yami will offer his Blackluster Soldier to the player in exchange for a Dark Magician. Mindy, Dark Magician Girl, and Wade use this card in Yu-Gi-Oh! GX Tag Force. Kuroe uses this card in Yu-Gi-Oh! 5D's World Championship 2009 Stardust Accelerator. Figaro uses this card in Yu-Gi-Oh! 5D's World Championship 2011 Over the Nexus. Trivia. In the manga, the Toei anime, and throughout Yu-Gi-Oh! R, Dark Magician is clearly shown to be a level 6 monster. Nonetheless, its summoning required 2 tributes on those series. Perhaps Kazuki Takahashi wanted to keep in conformity with the OCG on this respect, but no explanation was given for this within those series, and there are no other examples of such behavior. Dark Magician is voiced by Kojima Kazunari Kojima in the Japanese version. The attack name attack name of this monster is called Dark Magic Attack or Black Magic in the original version. In the anime, when this card attacks, it releases a dark shock wave at its attack target from its hand or staff. When this happens, the background and the affected monster player have their colors briefly inverted as they get hit by the attack.